So we're continuing to talk about this same image and the idea of not only just object selection, but destructive versus non-destructive edits, what the difference between those are, smart object versus rasterized object, smart filters versus image adjustments that are permanent. And another example of sort of taking this a little further. So here we have our smart object image. We already have, I guess we don't have a mask on it yet. So all we have on it is that smart filter where we did the color adjustment. So just using my polygonal selection tool, most basic one you can really use. I'm just going to go through and loosely, quickly select this page here. And then what I'll do is I'll mask that. Nope, not that part. The opposite of that. I often have to be like, oh, whoops, I forgot to invert it. So now I've masked that. And what I'm going to do, now we see the mask right there. Looks like this, hiding that page. Then I have this layer, which is like, I don't know, some kind of interesting pattern that I found, and I thought that would be kind of interesting to swap, the blank page here for something like this, I guess. So then what I'll do is I'll hide the parts of this that I don't want to see as well. So just create another mask, but on this layer. Yep, it helps if you select the right things first. 1 second. There we go. So now I have this, and from there I could, reduce the opacity of it or change the blend mode so that it takes on some of the appearance of the underlying object or whatever. But let's just say, well, that looks pretty interesting. But then, the idea of smart image adjustments where we did a hue saturation through by going up to the application bar and going to adjustments, hue saturation on a smart object. Another way to achieve something similar, I mentioned in the last video, you do have adjustment layers. Now I'll do a whole section, of demonstrations in another playlist or whatever talking about adjustment layers. But just as a quick introduction to them, if you've never heard of them before, they are accessible through your layers window, and you have your masking option right next to it. The circle that looks like it's partially colored in is a series of adjustment layers, and so I could do the hue saturation one from right there too, and then I get a hue saturation slider that allows me to, on whatever layers are below that adjustment layer, and I can attach it to just one layer, or I can affect many layers below it. In this case, you're just seeing it affect one layer because it's the only thing I have visible right now in this document except for this photo. But this is a way to go through and also change saturation and recolor things and all kinds of other things through there. And so, like I said, we will get deeper into adjustment layers. I just clipped this here, so it's only affecting that layer. Don't feel like you need to be able to understand these things too deeply right now, but it's just an overview of destructive versus non-destructive edits and a couple of areas where you can play around with adjustment layers and trying to recolor things. And when you start to combine those with masks, and these selection tools to really hone in on what it is you want to manipulate, you start to have quite a bit of power when it comes to doing selections and adjustments.